This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the chairman and CEO of ALX Resources, Mr. Warren Stanyer. Warren, how are you?
I'm doing well, Gerardo, and thanks for such a wonderful introduction.
Thank you for taking the time. Let's get right to it. We are obviously in the very early stages of what I believe will be a historic gold bull market. A lot of action in the space. You had some news out of ALX. You've commenced surface exploration on nickel, gold, and PGE targets. Can we talk about the program?
We absolutely can. So, sometimes you don't know what's on a property. When we first took on the Falcon Nickel project, one of our vendors recommended that we always remember the JJ showing, and first I didn't know what he was talking about, because you have to go into the reports. You dig into these reports that were written almost 30 years ago, and then you read about this thing. So suddenly it was like, oh, this is real. Noranda saw quartz and a rusty Gossan. All of a sudden, this was not like the nickel they had come there to look for. So they took samples, and the samples ran gold, and they were impressed. And then nobody ever went back, because gold, the next time someone walked on that property in the area was 1997,
right?
Because credits were required, to assessment credits. So, but gold in that time was $275 an ounce. So that showing was not of any interest to anyone, but it sure is now.
Absolutely.
And then we start looking at that and looking at the topography, and we see, oh, there's the Star Gold and PGE showing on the same trend across the river right beside the town of Stony Rapids. And guess what? It's on our property. You can hardly make this stuff up. So here we are looking at a potential regional trend that has gold in it. And it's being studied by the government geologists. They have come up there because they were like, wait a minute, gold and platinum group elements right beside Stony Rapids. So they were there about 4 years ago, wrote a very intelligent paper about gold and the potential in the northern part of Saskatchewan. And here you have, okay, it's not in the same rocks, but to the west, the Goldfields deposit of over 1 million ounces, all the categories added. You've got the Pine Channel gold showings about, 20 miles to the west of us. There's a whole bunch of gold, high-grade gold showings. So we're looking at the gold potential, and thanks for asking.
And there is outcrop there, right? There was initial sampling that I believe returned up to 5.7 grams per ton gold. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. Now, in the regolith material, some kind of paleo-weathered, crumbly stuff, that they got 5.7 grams, but there was over almost 4 grams, 3.7 grams, straight out of a bedrock piece the following year. So no one's been back there since, except for the government, and they didn't look at it for commercial reasons. So they were looking at it out of geological curiosity. So what we're doing, I don't know if you saw the pictures on our website today, Gerardo, but our contractor has purchased this little drill. It looks like a jackhammer that you'd rent, to rip up your patio or something. 2 handles, and it's a diamond drill, and there's a picture also of the core that it drills. And we're taking that to JJ, and we're going to take it around to the other showings that we're interested in, and we will drill some holes, little ones, to see what's underneath, what hasn't been weathered. And if you're familiar with the Voisey's Bay discovery, people that visited the Gossanas outcrop there back in the late 80s, early 90s, nobody did what the discoverers did. They didn't go below the rusty stuff and spend the time. So what this drill does for us, it lets us go through the rusty stuff in a matter of half an hour to an hour. And we've got a sample of the fresh rock. So we'll see what comes out of it.
When do you anticipate initial results?
Well, right now I would think that things are a little quiet at the labs, although you've reminded me to call there in Saskatoon, our favorite lab that I've been working with for over 20 years. and we can probably get them done quickly. In other words, within a couple of weeks. Not 4 to 6 weeks, kind of waiting and waiting. And no, we can. They tend to be very nice to us there, and if we ask for a rush on something, they'll probably do it. Now that COVID is easing throughout North America and most places, and I don't want to talk about that too much, but I hear that Austin is kind of a hot spot right now, and I wish you and your family well.
I appreciate that. We're staying inside, washing our hands, and staying inside. And when we're out, we're wearing masks. So,
so that affects all the commerce of an area. So in Saskatchewan, they've been luckier, and the cases have declined, and we've had none up in Stony Rapids, where our geos are today, which is great. I mean, there's not many places that can say that. So anyway, the labs get affected by that because of the personnel and having to come in and people going in and out. So, but I think we can get the results by the third week of July, even with these holidays in here. So.
Well, in this market, that's going to fly by. I'm looking forward to having you back on. I hope, and I'm hoping that I'm able to be congratulating you on something significant, because it's clear that the market has an appetite for discoveries. And so, fingers crossed, best of luck to you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Warren?
Just that discoveries, when they happen, there's this cumulative effect. It can be something that seems small and insignificant that all of a sudden really matters a lot. So I'm looking forward to these results too. And thanks for calling today, Gerardo.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, Warren. Be safe.
You too. Take care.